There it is.
Yep. Yep.
There
Hey
we
guys.
Hello.
Hello, everybody.
are. Looks
Hi.
like we're live.
So we are the Messengers of Hope. We are a group of very diverse light workers. And we are here to talk to you guys about the changes that are going on, to hopefully dispel some of your fears, to answer questions, and to help everyone just kind of cope through the ascension of the earth, right?
Yes, good way of putting it.
Beautiful
That
way of
sounds about
putting
right.
it.
So who wants to introduce themselves first?
Well, I'll go ahead and go. I know we're all trying to get this shared onto our different Facebooks as well while we introduce ourselves, but I'm Dr. Jessica Sanchez. I am not a medical doctor. I am a medical doctor by training, but I've chosen not to practice traditional Western medicine. Instead, I do spiritual healing and wellness, multidimensional healing. So I'm super excited to be here with each and every single one of these fabulous presenters, but every one of your lovely souls, as we are talking about important things that are affecting us daily, yearly, and interdimensionally. So super excited to be here, and I'll pass it on to Jamie.
Hello, I'm Jamie Layton. I am astrologer, moonologist, spiritual healer. I am working with the Master's Octave, and I'm Jason Layton's wife.
Hi, I'm oh, go ahead.
Go ahead, buddy. No, you got yours started. Do that.
I'm Jeremy, and I am a quantum healer and life coach, spiritual teacher, all that good stuff. And hi, I'm going to pass it down to Nicole since she's like this way for me.
Oh, thanks, Jeremy. Hi, guys. I'm Nicole Frolic, and I'm an intuitive life coach, and I've got a podcast called Enlighten Up. And I'm just here working with some beautiful souls to bring some light and love to all of you and hopefully uplift you during these very uncertain times and perhaps provide some strength and some hope where it's needed.
I'm going to
That
go.
would leave me.
Nope.
Yeah, go ahead. Do it up. No, go ahead.
I'm Karen
Hello,
Borga.
Karen.
My company is Signs of Angels. I work with my husband, Frank Borga, quite often. And we work to inspire people to live a much more positive life. I send out daily inspirations from the angels to kind of give you that jump start for your morning. And I've drawn an oracle deck, and you can pick your card for the day to also start your day with some positive inspiration. And well, I've just recently started daily live streams to sit and chat as well. So Awaken with Angels on Facebook.
Yeah.
Nice.
And I am Jay Layton. I'm a spiritual life coach and a NLP practitioner and the president of the Masters Octave nonprofit organization. And I'm very excited to have these 6 people and everyone in the chat and everyone on Facebook joining us, because we have some really, really good information to share, especially in these times that we're in now where we're kind of cooped up and there's so much energy going around. There is so much energy, good and bad, pulling us in so many different ways. And so we just want to get on and really talk about what we could do to really take advantage of this energy, really, and really excel through it, really thrive through this energy. So I'm very excited to have everybody here. It's very, very cool. So do you guys want to do like a little meditation first?
Sure.
Let's get grounded.
Sounds good.
All right. So everyone, take a nice deep breath in. A nice deep breath in. Now I want you to just focus all of your energy on your heart. Just feel your heart beating. And now think of someone or something that you really, really love. It could be a person, it could be a pet, but something, someone you really, really love. And feel how your heartbeat gets louder as you feel that in your heart center. Now imagine that energy being pushed out and around you like a protective bubble. And imagine that energy expanding out around your home, around your town, around your state, around your country, and around the world. Spreading love and compassion from your heart throughout the whole world. And take a nice deep breath in. And let go of all the stress of the day. Let's get into the moment here. Here we are. Right in the moment. So we had a show on Tuesday night and we were hacked. It was very interesting. It was our first time being hacked like that. So it was a great learning curve. We moved to a new platform to with everybody. And actually it's a much cooler platform. You have a lot of cool things that we can do with this in the future. But it was very interesting because what I talk about now is energy and how we are all energetic beings, and that we have the old reality where we look at ourselves as physical beings, and that we're just a physical being and we transition, we die, that's it, our life's over. But what the new science is showing and what our ancient cultures have always said is that we are eternal beings and that we are filled with energy. So when we look at quantum physics, it completely gets rid of the whole paradigm of us being physical beings. And it shows that every aspect of us is energy. So what I've been talking about lately is the cellular biology of our cells. And that's what I'd like to start off with today, is talking about what can you do? The most important thing that I feel that you can do right now in this time of chaos, in this time of trouble, in this time of scarcity and being scared, is to really go within. So it's important to turn off what's going on out here and really go within and strengthen your inner reality, your inner world. So when we look at the biology of our cells get their information from our senses, our 5 senses, 6 senses. And they don't know the outside world. They only know what we're thinking about. And when we think about, it automatically sets off a fire of emotions and chemicals to give us a physical experience. So when we move into a state of fear, when we're watching the news and we're watching this virus that's sweeping around the whole entire world, it puts us into a state of fear. So we don't find the balance within ourselves. We actually go into a state of fight or flight, and that state of fight or flight, it brings all of our cellular biology down. All our cells can either be in growth or protection. And when we move into a state of fight or flight, we move into a state of protection, which means our cells cannot grow. They can't rejuvenate, which weakens our immune system. And why that's important to understand is because the only thing that's changing that is your thoughts. It's where you're putting your attention, and your intention is changing your inner biology to either boost your immune system or weaken your immune system. So if you talk to somebody who is, very spiritual, you can say, all you got to do is raise your energy. It's all about raising your energy and keeping at a high vibrational frequency. And a lot of people understand what that means. But then you have some people who are very analytical and say, that makes no sense to me. So they need to understand that there's 50 trillion cells inside of you. And those 50 trillion cells are ran by a government. And that government is your mind. What you're thinking releases all these chemicals inside of your body to change the cellular biology and to move the blood around to go to your legs from your viscera so you can get into fight or flight and run. So this is funny because it happened the other night when we were doing this our first show, right? So we go on live, and then all of a sudden we start getting hacked. And so I'm on the helm of trying to like get rid of these people, right? So I'm staying calm, I'm being focused, I'm trying to like, all right, get rid of them. And they, for some reason, I couldn't get rid of them. I don't know what they were using, what program they were using. They were very good. What they were doing, I just couldn't get rid of them. They were taking over everything. And in the moment, I was calm, I was good. But then after the whole thing happened, right, I was like, oh man, whew. You know, I took like that breath. And what's interesting is we got back on about 20 minutes later, and then I introduced everybody. And I'm reading off my sheet, I'm reading everybody's little bio, and my brain just was not functioning. Like I just couldn't get the words out, because what happens when we move into a state of fear, fight or flight, the blood moves from the front of our head, which is our critical thinking, to the back of our head. And the reason why it does that is because when you need to get out of the way, you don't need to critically think. You need to move. So the part of us that takes over the move action shuts down the critical factor and makes us move. But what happens is nothing physically was happening outside of me. It was all happening on a computer screen. I had a fight or flight experience where all the blood moved to the back of my head, and it shut down my critical factor. So now when we're watching the news and we're watching all this stuff that's going on, it's actually putting us into a state of fight or flight, and it's shutting down our ability to critically think. And what happens after that is we become extremely tired. People become extremely tired from what's happening. So the best thing that I can say right now is really hold a high vibrational frequency within inside yourself, and that's love. So focus on the things that you love. What do you love to do? Who do you love to be around? I mean, we're in this social distancing right now. We can't go around our friends and family, but we can meet up online. We can meet up on the phone. But it's so important to be in the state of love and compassion right now, because that's going to boost your immune system. So just in case this virus does make it into your household, you don't want a compromised immune system. You want your immune system to be at its apex. So when it comes in, your body can fight it off with ease. And it's happening all over the place. People are getting it, and they're getting better quick. So where do you want to put your attention? Do you want to put it into fear, which is going to weaken your immune system and shut down your cellular biology of growth? Or do you want to put it into love, compassion, and growth? And take this time, this opportunity, to really focus on all the things we've been putting off in our lives. We've been putting off so much because our lives are just so busy, so much going on. And someone said, well, not everybody has a lot of time right now, because, you know, nurses and utility workers are all out there working, and cops, and you know, so there's a lot of people that are out there, and we're so thankful and grateful for them. But a lot of us are home, and we have some time to really do the meditations that we really want to do, and do the yoga. I mean, everybody still has TV. You can do yoga on demand. You know, you can go on YouTube and get a million different yoga or Pilates or anything you want on YouTube. There's so much that you can do from your living room, from your TV. That you can really take advantage of focusing on internal stuff and boosting yourself, boosting the immune system, instead of watching all this stuff going on and this fear. You're completely compromising yourself. So when this thing, if it does ever come into your household, you're not going to be in a good position. So you really want to raise your vibration, raise your frequency, and that is by holding a high resonance of love and compassion.
And also doing things you love. Playing music you love, watching movies you love. I actually started to crochet. I have a granddaughter on the way, so I figured now is a better time. Now is the best time to get started. Better time sitting in the house.
You know, I think that some people are having difficulty with slowing down. Mm-hmm. Right? Mm-hmm. And it is necessary for us to be able to not be in that fear space by slowing down. And so everyone is rush. And even though we're home and we have the opportunity to go inside, we are using the television and whatever else our projects are that we're working on to keep us from actually being. right? Just sitting still and being quiet, because a lot of people, that doesn't feel very natural. It feels uncomfortable. And in that space is where you can get to the place where you're grounded, and not filled with all of that fear. So my advice to those people who are struggling with the being, doing nothing, literally sitting, holding your cup of tea and doing nothing, that's okay. Actually, that's very encouraged during this period of time, very encouraged. And so allow yourself to have the opportunity to do that, and don't get yourself all busy with projects. This is the universe's gift to us, if you like to look at things from a different perspective than fear. And this is I like to call it our mandatory spiritual retreat, where you can go in and you can find yourself. The universe has said, stop. This is enough. And it's time for you to go inside and be quiet and listen. And so use this time wisely. It is truly, truly a gift.
Yeah.
Anybody else?
You know, it really is a gift, like you're saying. I was talking to some people today and just talking about as well as how this whole energetic shift is really been affecting us all. You know, like we're either feeling, even if I might feel grounded, I personally might feel grounded through it or something. It doesn't matter. You still are feeling the tiredness. Maybe I'm not depressed because of things going on in my life, but you feel the tiredness. You feel the energy of exactly what Jason was talking about, the fight or flight. You feel those cortisol levels. You feel other people on their cellular level, what's going on in their bodies. You feel what's going on energetically. And it makes you want to stay in bed. It doesn't help that Nicole and I are from some sunny states. Here, her being in Colorado, actually Canada, you know, she's in Colorado now, but you know, I'm here in New Mexico, and when it's a cloud cover, we just want to be in bed all day. But because the energy level has been that way, it's exactly what you and Jason are saying. It's a beautiful time to be present. And I was just talking to people that if you really feel like, hey, you have this opportunity to stay home and stay in bed, maybe you just need to let your body catch up and be present, just like you said. And if it's holding a cup of tea and doing nothing, or taking that extra long nap so you can re-energize, let yourself rebalance and let yourself get there, because it is a message. It's a message for all of us. So
I always look at craziness as my opportunity to help me become more of the stillness in the storm, you know, and it's like, I guess because of the nature of the work I've done, because I've always been in crazy situations, you just get to the point where things just don't affect you as much. And so, and I've worked now in managing call centers for over 20 years. And if you ever want to find enlightenment, just go work for a call center. So, and the reason why I say that is because, you know, people are going to throw things at you, scream at you, yell at you, do all this kind of stuff, and cuss at you. And when you can get to the point where that doesn't faze you anymore, not that you're stuffing it down, but that you get to the point where you're like, that's not about me. That's about the situation that's happening. And so, yeah, there's a lot of craziness going on in the world. And this is our opportunity for us to sit and be quiet during all this. I mean, there's more than just the virus going on. There's people worried about losing their jobs and not having an income. But there's a lot of blessings when it comes in. And, you know, it's interesting because I did my only presentation live last night because it was the only event that didn't cancel. And I just decided to get up there and speak from the heart. I had a whole presentation prepared, and I decided to stand up there and tell them about my month and tell them what the difference is between now and 2006 to 2008 for me. Because I wanted them to see the fact that we all grow and these things happen for a reason, because pearls are formed through friction and diamonds are formed through friction. So what we're doing is we're becoming these beautiful, beautiful, so we're evolving back into this beautiful soul that we already were in the first place. So, and it's very interesting. So, you know, I just threw it out there, you know, my entire business has just fallen down around me. in about 2.5 weeks, and a whole bunch of other stuff happens, but I'm just not worried about it. Now in 2006, 2008, from 2006 to 2007 or 10, all I did is stress. And so there is, but when it comes to finances, it's just not there anymore. And there's a lot of people out there that's watching this right now, and you're feeling the same way, because I'm getting text messages and phone calls for the past couple of days, and people are saying, I don't know why, Jeremy, I see all these people upset and stressed out, and I just don't feel that. I feel at peace, and maybe I'm crazy, or maybe I don't, I'm not, I'm insensitive. I'm like, no, that's because you've been through it before, and that fight or flight thing that Jason's talking about, now you've gotten to the point where it's gone from this practice of faith to now I just know there's something out there that's going to make sure that everything is taken care of. And it may not be in the way the monkey mind feels I need it to be done, but there is somewhere along the line that something is going to provide to where I'm going to be fine. And so, and our soul can't die. So it's just that's just the coolest part about it. So the physical body can shed. And so I'll leave this last thought before I stop just for a second, is that my spiritual teacher, Reika, I was reminded of her recently. She said to me in 2006, I was roughly, I don't know, I would have been like 22 years old at the time. She says, one day you have to do your inner work now. If you do your inner work now, then the new world that's kind of happened is going to be very beautiful to you. And it's going to be, you're going to come in, you're going to see it with different eyes. But she goes, if you don't, it's going to rip you apart. And I thought that was fear. I thought it was fear porn at the time. I thought, why? Because I was raised in a church that taught that kind of stuff. But what it meant is now I can look at all these things that would make me feel insecure. Somebody calls me a name or whatever. That's just a generality. But, and it doesn't faze me. And I know that a lot of you out there can relate to this because you've done your work at some level. And now, right now, there might be a new level that you're being alchemized into. Since Nicole and I love to talk about alchemy, and so and that you're coming into a new level of understanding of yourself. And so I think that the humanity is going into a very rich, wonderful place, and I think it's time to be excited, not a time to worry about what's going on out here, worry about what's going on in here.
Yeah.
So.
Very well.
Yeah, and
everybody froze on me.
For very, very well said, Jeremy. I always love to look at the lessons of what's being reflected back to us. And when we look at this virus, what Jason was talking about, our immunity and how important it is to understand what that means. When a virus enters our body, it's invaded our boundaries. And right now, I think collectively, a lot of people are going through the lessons of understanding the importance of maintaining personal sovereignty and personal boundaries. And you can see it on many different levels. So this virus, in a way, is allowing us to connect with the part of us that may have, allowed people to disrespect our own personal space, our own personal sovereignty in many different ways, okay? Mm-hmm. And it's allowing us to finally build up a resolve, strengthen and heal some of those past wounds that have to deal with boundaries being pushed, crossed, invaded, and allowing ourselves to come out stronger and to know that we always have the fortitude and the strength and the courage to stand up for ourselves. And I think that's what a lot of us are coming into right now, is recognizing our own personal power in this moment. And we can thank the virus for that. And I know, that's not to diminish anyone who's fallen ill to it or has family members who've fallen ill to it. I don't want to diminish anyone's pain. But for those of us who are not experiencing that, there are still lessons here for us. And it's to understand that how important it is to maintain healthy boundaries and to maintain your personal sovereignty. And there's a lot that awakens within all of us when we come into a space where we start to explore what our sovereignty actually means and where we've given it away and where we can reclaim it back for ourselves.
It's like we're almost forced to give each other space right now, just so we can be in the space of our own self, our own being.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's like when you get great information, right? What's the first thing you want to do when you get good information? Like, I want to share it, right? But now it's kind of like we all, each one of us that are on this, that are seeing this, we're all the age that we have great information inside of us. We know what is what. We know what's going on. We know that this shift is happening. It's been prophesized. I mean, in every single book, ancient book, has been prophesizing about this time and about this shift. We needed something to stir up the pot. The whole entire reality needed to be stirred up in order for the shift to happen. Because what happens is, even if you're in a state of, this just stinks, I don't like my job, you're not going to leave until you find something better, unless you get thrown out. You're like, oh, now I got to find something. And then it's all depending on your vibrational frequency and which way you go. But here's what's happening is the whole entire earth, not just your town, not just your country, the whole entire earth is getting stirred up right now. Everything is about to change for the better for us. This is the new earth that Dolores Cannon has been talking about. This is the beginning stages. We are in a beautiful, beautiful stir up right now that's going to bring something massive for all of us. And it's going to start happening. We're going to start seeing these changes happening very, very soon, within the next month. And especially, this coronavirus kind of uncovered all the systems that were in play for us that just didn't work before. So now it's kind of like, oh, wait a second, that doesn't work. We don't need that. This works. So let's try this. And it's gonna really bring people together in a whole new way. And then when I say this to people who aren't in the know, they say, oh, it's the same old, whatever. It's all against us. It's all against us. But what I want you to understand is that once you change your vibrational frequency, everything changes for you. If you want to heal the world, first heal yourself. And this was what Jane was just saying. Now we're stuck in our house. What do we need to focus on? Us, right? Focus on us, and then share that information. I was talking to Karen this morning, and she was going live, and she's like, she wrote this beautiful, beautiful poem this morning. And she's like, that's how I got it. I'm like, how? She goes, I got it in my meditation. That's where it comes from. When you go into meditation, it's like you open up into the supermind, your subconscious, your higher self, and you're able to receive so much more information that you're not going to get on the TV, that you're not going to get externally. You have to go internal to get that information. And it's all about really right now, really going in and reflecting and making the changes you need to make that you want to see come into fruition in your life.
Can I just add something? Because I was just thinking about that. I was studying the other day about Einstein and Da Vinci and stuff like that, and different people that would Tesla that we would consider revolutionary and have changed the world, and all of them used to go into this state, this trance state, and they believe that a lot of Tesla's information that he brought forward, and Einstein that he brought forward, and Da Vinci was all because they got downloads from an altered state of consciousness. And so when we talk a lot about this inner world stuff and going within, and some people don't necessarily understand what that means. And I use those words too, and I use high frequency as well. But these people went into these altered states. So because I teach salespeople too, I want to tell everybody about this term called "keep it simple, stupid," and here's the reason. It stands for KISS, and the reason why I like that is because sometimes you don't have to frequency and all that kind of stuff. Like those are words that we understand because we've been doing this for however many years we've been doing it. But honestly, really, if you just work on breathing, deep breathing, which we all have to do for life. And then you start just slowing down what you're doing, sitting there, like Karen mentioned, with a cup of coffee. I think it was either a cup of coffee or a cup of tea, and just sitting there. That's really simple things that you can do. And then it'll take you into an altered state. And guess what? Poems will come through, and different thoughts are going to come through, and all these really, really, really cool things. But we use terms like automatic writing and all this other kind of stuff, and that's just or meditation. I want to get rid of the word meditation. Just call it spend 5 minutes with yourself. 5 minutes just breathing. And so in those. But I just thought that was really cool to understand that going within really is just hanging out with yourself for 5 minutes. But like, when's the last time you did that? We got kids, we got work, we got all these other things. And, you know, and even like people that are really, really busy, you can take 30 seconds for yourself and just breathe. Like, even like now, I'm most of the time really busy. I will go out and spend 15 minutes in my car, and I will drive it to the other side of the parking lot where nobody will come and bother me. And then I will sit there for 10 minutes just to get away from everybody and breathe. And that's the most important. So, you know, remember, just, I think spiritual people call it keep it simple spirit. I just like keep it simple stupid because it makes sense. You know, don't clean it up. Just make it what it is. And laugh, laugh. There's just so much. Sometimes even spiritual people can be very, 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 very serious, and I'm like, you gotta loosen up a little bit, and, especially since I saw this video this morning, and it was day 8 in quarantine, and it was basically this 2-year-old and probably like a 4-year-old kid, and they're crying, and you know they're there with their parents. You know, their parents are about ready to probably lose it, and I don't know why I just found that the funniest thing in the world because I don't have kids. And so,
You know, you talk about going and taking that time. That's why so many people, when they have these quote unquote near-death experiences, they've basically taken life out. They're still breathing or still being made to breathe through CPR or whatever might be going on, but they've also taken out all the chaos that mentally, just like Jason was talking about, we have a government running us and it's right here in our heads. And they have, by not being consciously here through meditation, near-death experience or something, that's how we're able to get that connection. That's where we're able to do that because we've just taken ourselves out of the chaos that we've allowed to be in our minds, that oppression that we've allowed. There's no one, I remember my father used to always say, there's nothing greater than the mind of those that are oppressed. Because for them to go into that and allow themselves to be oppressed, they didn't realize how they were conquering themselves. So we conquer ourselves daily. I'm guilty of it myself. Like, we're all guilty of it. But this is a beautiful time for us all to, like we said, create that shift, allow it to happen, as well as, you know, we keep talking about moving into 5D. And I like to say, don't limit it. Move into the multidimensional world. We're not just 5D. We're everything. So this is definitely a time for us to do that inner healing work. Like we've been saying, recenter, recreate, do the reshifts. I know Nicole's been talking about it, bringing your different parallels lives together and bringing those parallel timelines together so that therefore it's what you have chosen for to create in this new earth. And, you know, somebody was putting a question out there saying, is the world coming to an end? And it's, you know, the world comes to an end every time we allow it to mentally or emotionally, but we can restart it. So this is definitely our time to hit that restart button and restart it in the most beautiful, most passionate, positive way.
Yeah, the greatest secret of the universe is you become what you think about. And it's so powerful to understand that you are a massive magnet and you are drawing to you the thing that you desire. And how you do that is through what you think about. What you think about is what you are attracting to your life. So if you look at the law of attraction, what is attraction? Attraction is a property of magnetics, right? So you have attraction and repulsion. It's also a property within electricity. So that's why it's called the electromagnetic spectrum that we reside in. We reside inside of this massive electromagnetic spectrum. Our hearts and our minds, our pineal glands, are massive magnets. So what you intend, what you think about, you draw to you as an experience. And this is called the law of attraction, right? But it's really all about what you think about. Like you were saying, hit the reset button, Jessica. Right now we have everything is resetting, right? Everything. What do you want to see the outcome to be? Now there's so many different outcomes that can play out in our minds. I mean, we can sit here and talk about 75,000 different scenarios of what's about to play out. Mm-hmm. But what is the best possible outcome for you? And if you start focusing on what that best possible outcome is for you, your life is going to start to align in things that you are desiring just happened to fall into your lap. And it's happened time and time again. For instance, my mom, this was in 10 years ago, she wanted to come down and she lives in Carolina. And we were having a meeting, a spiritual meeting. She really wanted to be a part of it, but she just didn't have the money because it was in her off season. And it was $300 for the plane ticket and then the costs for her, stay. So anyway, we're like, we're going to manifest this, right? The next day, my boss calls me up. He's like, listen, Jay, I need to get 2 trucks to Ohio. Would you mind driving one of them? We'll pay you $300 cash. It's like, yes, I will go to Ohio for $300 cash because exactly that's the number that we desired, that we needed. And we've all had these experiences. We all had these experiences of thinking about somebody and they call, or thinking about something that you desire, and all of a sudden it just starts appearing out of nowhere. Someone just hands you whatever it is that you need. And this is our power. Our power is our intention and our thoughts and where we place them. It's so important. And we have a great reset right now. Let's take advantage of this and create the lives that we always wanted to live.
Everybody knows. Go ahead, Jessica.
I was going to say, as you're talking about that reset button, we did have a question come up in our chat saying, can you talk about the approach for an empath to be able to differentiate my emotions versus other emotions? And I think, Michelle, thank you for sending that question in, because it's a very important thing right now for all of us to be going through as empaths, because is it mine? Is it something that's going on that somebody in my own personal circle? Is this something that's going on worldwide, universe-wide? And this is that time, like one of us was saying earlier, we got forced into our houses because of this coronavirus. If you think about it, because of a pandemic, of an illness or a war, would probably be the only thing that would send each one of us into our own homes and into this place. So we were saying how we're being forced into this place where we really can recenter. And that's going to allow us to start going deeper within to differentiate between what is mine, what is yours, what is everyone else. But I will say, because we're all linked together, every single part of it is part of us, and it is part of ours. So we just have to find out what's part of our persona of right now in this dimension that we're living with. Because I think it was Jason, didn't you just put out the egg video?
Yeah, that was awesome. Huh?
And it was an amazing video that Jason put out. If you guys haven't seen it, go to Jay Layton, to his website and watch it. I was going to share it too. But it's a beautiful thing, because in the idea of this video that he put out there that was coming out, it's an egg, but it talks about how we kind of go into these rebirths, and we have taken part of each one of the lives. I have been Karen has been me, Jason, everything. And we've been every single person, every single thing in this world, to relive it all from different formats, to think of it. So when you kind of go into that thought, then now how do you differentiate what you are right now in this world? And I think that's where you kind of need to get all your bodies into alignment, because we have so many parts to our body. We have our physical body, emotional body, spiritual body. I like to say what works for me as well is to try to get all my bodies into alignment, especially because I always like bilocate, or I'm always doing multidimensional work, especially when I'm working with people. And I definitely feel what's going on in different people's bodies and minds and everything else. I have to try to ask myself to really get connected, get centered, ask all my bodies to come into alignment, ask all my bodies to have their clearing and cleansing and only receive their energy from their proper field and their proper plane. Therefore, none of them are affecting my physical body or physical, emotional, spiritual, everything else. And once I can get all of that into line, then I know that I'm more grounded and centered. Then I can go deeper within, and I can say, is this my direct problem or issue or emotion? Is this one of mine, like anything of me being? And then I can ask the question, is it somebody that's like physically related to me? Is it somebody emotionally related to me? Or is this not of my own? Maybe is this something empathically I'm feeling from clients as well? Mm-hmm. Or is this something I need to be paying attention to? That's a big question to always ask. Like, do I even need to be paying attention to whatever I'm feeling right now? Because sometimes we get kind of thrown off the road a little bit, and we need to be able to veer ourselves back. And so, but I know Karen's smiling because I could just feel like talking about what do you feel? I could feel her angels behind her saying, yeah, Karen, you talked about this lately. So I'm going to turn over to Karen because I'm just like feeling all the vibes of the messages she's getting. But I think that's one way. And I know each one of us can share so many different ways. And that's just one of the many I use.
Yeah.
You know, for me, I had struggled as an empath, or I struggled a very long time as an empath, not realizing that the energy that I was feeling wasn't mine. And this is how the angels were able to help me heal. I was massively depressed for a very long time. And I didn't know what my own energy felt like. And so that, I think, is the most important thing for an empath to learn, is to know what your own clear energy feels like. And I did that through meditation, and calling on the angels to surround me in an energy of love, a protective shield as I healed. Because as the energies were being ripped away from me or taken away from me, I was being exposed, because exposed to my own feelings that I didn't even know that I had. The feelings that I was feeling and the energy is pouring through me were feelings that actually belonged to other people, and I held them as my own. And so meditating, even though Jeremy says don't use that word, was so powerful for me, and shielding myself with the angel's love. And then once I got to a space where I was in this beautiful, happy space, right? And I charged myself during the day. And then what Jeremy said about going off during the day, I did that at lunchtime. I would go to a park and I would sit and I would meditate again. And so I kept myself in this space for as long as I possibly could. And Abraham Hicks, they talk about a vortex. And if you get yourself into the space where you are in a happy space, you will be able to sense when your little toe goes out of your vortex. And at that point, you become the observer of your emotions and not the reactor of your emotions, because you can recognize that something has come into your space. And at that point, you observe it. You know, give it love, whatever it is, because it's someone around you. And, you know, we are here loving beings. So love and compassion, but you don't have to take it on as your own. And you certainly, you know, it's not your own. And, you know, with more spiritual learning, you, like Jeremy exactly said with his call center, you get to a point where you can look at people with love and recognize that that's not your stuff. That's their stuff. And you don't have to take it in. And really, that's not a quick learn by any means. All of that stuff, that was my journey, that I love to share. But that was my process on learning how to differentiate between my emotions and someone else's.
Yeah.
I noticed for me as an empath, when I would feel that I'm taking on somebody else's emotions, usually it was very abrupt and sudden, like a quick change. So fast. And lots of times, you know, going out in public, being in a good mood or something, and then walking into a grocery store and leaving completely depleted of energy. I have been there many times. So that's when I know I'm taking on too much of everybody else's stuff. Go home and take a bath. That was my cure.
Which is an awesome tool, right? If people are not familiar with that, just hopping in the shower and visualizing that the shower is white light energy, and allow it to come into the top of your head, and visualize the black yuck that is going down the drain. Sometimes it takes me, a very long time in the shower to get rid of all that black yuck. And sometimes it's just whoosh, and it just comes right out. So that's a great tool that I often recommend. It works for me.
Yeah.
I do the same with the
And
bath.
I think this totally just.
Go ahead.
So I was just going to say that I think that this just drives home the point of when we're empaths, that understanding the importance of boundaries is so important, and knowing what you're taking on quickly, understanding how important it is to maintain boundaries, and also still addressing the concept of unity. I think a lot of people misinterpret what unity means. It means that we lose our individuality, we lose our own personal boundaries, and that we're all like in flow with one another like seamlessly, and that's not what unity is. We all have our own individuality, but we also work in synchronicity, in harmonization with one another. And to have your own boundaries does not mean you're separate from anything else in the universe. It just means that you're allowing yourself to work efficiently, to work from a place of power, and to do the best work that you're meant here to do. And if we all maintain healthy boundaries, including our emotional boundaries, then we're at our highest peak of able to do the work that we all came here to do. So understanding that having proper boundaries doesn't mean you're separating yourself from anything. It means you're honoring your own individual self in relation to everything else, because so it's important to understand it goes both ways, and this whole virus is bringing this up for all of us. So this question that Michelle put in about how to understand what energy is yours and what isn't, it just drives back that whole concept of what this virus is bringing home for all of us to look at.
Yeah, and another thing too is really what I was talking about earlier about holding a high vibration, holding compassion and love. If you're super happy, like think of like something just happened in your life and you're super, super happy. You can walk into a grocery store, you can walk into anywhere, and you are not going to be affected whatsoever because your state of emotion is so high. You're just exalted in energy. So it's like you have this bubble of protection around you, and you're just in your own little world in complete happiness. The idea is to be able to hold that resonance at all times. So it's so important to really focus on the things that make you happy. Maybe it's a song. Maybe every day when you wake up, you have a song you listen to that, that creates that emotional feeling when you were younger, or maybe it's a movie, or maybe it's a person, maybe it's a saying. Find something that triggers. It's all about the trigger. Find something that triggers that emotion so that when you go into the store, you don't walk out drained. It was just like the other day when we got hacked. What happened was I had, because I had the program running, it was my bad, but I had certain loopholes that they were able to access. So I had screen sharing on for everybody. Probably shouldn't have had that on there. So they were easy to hack in there. But just like us, if we don't have that elevated emotion, though, that high energy within us, we're basically leaving loopholes for other people's energy to get into our energy and zap us, basically. And it's not like they're mentally or physically saying anything to us. It's just their energy field is kind of like just so strong, and we're walking through it and we're like, oh man, I feel drained. I'm ready to go home and take a nap. Because we are not in that elevated state. And it's not like you're walking around in a dopamine state of all the time being super happy. It's just being conscious of trying to work and raise your vibration at all the time and keeping that high state, especially when you go into public, because you really don't want to take on other people's energies. Energy rises to the highest vibration in the room, right? Remember that. So who said that with a match, right? You can take a match into a dark room and have an effect, but you can't take darkness into a lit room and have any effect at all, because energy always goes to the light. It always goes to the highest vibrational frequency. So if you maintain that higher vibrational frequency, nothing else can affect you. Not even death can affect you, because if you look at people, patriots who are really in love with what they do and they're gung-ho for the team, right? Look at a Navy SEAL. These guys are so trained, they're so in their mind and so focused, and they hold that high resonance of their objective. That's the only thing that matters. And that's the way we should all be starting to train ourselves now when we have this opportunity to be in our homes or wherever you're at, to really start becoming a Navy SEAL in focus and attention, and really start directing that energy and manifesting our reality.
Karen and Nicole were hitting on some things in Jamie as well, and it's that protection. So protection comes for so many different people in so many ways. We could use that shower and take off the gunk and negative residue and everything, and we can always ask for it to transmute and transform before it goes down the drain, so we're not recycling it out. But we can call in that protection and blessings as well. So that's one other step I always do as well, even with the shower, is I ask for it to be transmuted and transformed before it goes down the drain, so it doesn't come back to get me or anyone. And then we've done that process, and then ask for that shower of that blessings, protection, and light for my day, so that I can maintain those high, happy vibrations without effort. And it's just natural, like Jason's talking about. And then it brings in those natural boundaries as well. And then when I'm feeling like what Jamie's saying, you start feeling that shift within, like, what's going on? Oh, wait, it's a lot easier for me to, Nicole's typing in spiritual hygiene. Yeah, sister, it sure is. But and it's something I work with all my clients all the time. But the more we do it, and it could just be a breath when you're out, just like how Jeremy was talking about, just going in his car. But I'm on the phone, and my brother might have been kind of, he's a physician as well, but he actually practices medicine, and my dad and everything. And they're going through all these different things every day in the protocol, what you have to put into place to your office and everything else. But he might have been worked up, and I could just feel his vibrations, and he's calling me to ask me for advice on what they should be writing in the protocol and out to patients. I just take that deep breath, because since I've already done my work for that day, thankfully I didn't get trapped into that energy that he's feeling, that now we're connected by family, but we're connected by voice through the phone, through the vocal vibrations and everything else. And then I could just take that breath and, okay, that breath with intent, let that divine breath in, transmute, transform that energy, and then move on through and have that spiritual hygiene just like working for me. Who needs hand sanitizer? I got my spiritual hygiene, but it works on our DNA. It really does. A lot of us have all talked about this all in our own way, in our own format. But just bringing in that divine light and allowing it into every single cell in your DNA, and it can work. The energy works generations past, and it works into the present right now where we're at, and it works generations forward as well. So we really are making that paradigm shift into everything that we deserve, these rewards.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So you think we should ask some questions? If anybody wants to ask some questions in the chats we have open, we have Facebook, YouTube, and in the room here. Yeah.
Lucy has asked a question here. She wants to know, she has difficulty breathing into her abdomen, always feels strained, so breathing is pretty shallow. Do we have any suggestions? She does Wim Hof breathing techniques now, but it still feels tense.
I would say practice. Just practice.
Yeah, that sounds like blocks in the solar plexus and the sacral too. So as you start moving that energy through there, those blocks and tightness is going to break up. And then you can actually do, I don't do yoga, but one of the things I do is I call it inner yoga, and I'll literally sit on my chair and put myself up and stretch as much as possible as I'm doing that deep breathing, and you'll feel the fascia and the muscles start to break apart, or loosen up and stuff like that. And yeah, it definitely is. That's centered around old traumas. Now, Lucy, is it in the front, more in the front, or in the back part? I'd be curious to know that, or is it all around? Not to get too personal. Because if it's in the back, it's in the lower part of the back. A lot of times that has to do with the past, and it has to do with support. in the front, that's your connection to other people. So like, we're right now, we're all connected, even though we're not necessarily in front of each other, we're all connected, especially through the solar plexus. And so it could be past traumas that have happened where people have betrayed you, or you've been hurt, or family members were not nice to you. Yes, physical, that's what I was looking for, physical pain in the back. Yes, so physical pain in the back would have to do with the past. And then this tenseness in the front is because of those triggers you've had from the past. So that's what we were talking about, that fight or flight stuff. So you've had traumas in the back. And so as you start moving through that and start stretching, yoga will do good. But breathing and stretching will actually move that energy and start getting it flowing better, and it'll help you with that breathing. So I hope that was
I also heard the word trust. There's some issues around trust for you and other people when Jeremy said that. And trust of self as well.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that's where your instincts, your gut. So if you're not trusting your instincts, you're gonna have problems there.
Yeah. And then we just had one. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Jason. I'll go after.
Okay.
lucid dreaming.
I was just saying, the lucid dreaming. A good one for just, do you want to finish up on that one, last one?
Yeah, just finish up on that one. Then the other thing is I would tell her and all of us right now with everything going on, take that light, just like how Karen was talking about bringing it into the crown chakra and everything else, and like how Nicole's sensing it. I could feel it like right underneath the diaphragm in my gut, like what you're feeling, and certain different areas on your back, especially your kidneys, like in filtering process issues. So like just take that light and just let that come through your body and let it ask for it to assist for it to like push that negative energy out and allow it to be birthed out and transmute and transform. But I was also hearing probiotics to reset your gut.
That's really good.
Yeah.
But that goes for everybody. We can be really doing that right now. So go ahead, Jay.
Yeah, so we have, I'm trying to lucid dream, right? So lucid dreaming is actually very easy. The best time to do it is...
No.
Oh, yeah. It's very easy. Here's what you do. It's the easiest way to do it, okay? It's as soon as you wake up, you want to set an alarm every between 5 to 10 minutes apart, okay, in the morning time, and you want to do this for an hour. So you want to do every 5 or 10 minutes in the beginning in the morning time. And what happens is you go deeper and deeper to sleep, but your conscious mind actually stays alert. So what happens is as you go down, you wake up, you come up, and then you go back down, you go deeper and deeper and deeper. In hypnosis, it's called fractionation. So when you want to put somebody really, really deep, really, really quick, you would use fractionation, which is the same exact thing that I'm telling you about here. Fractionation is I'll count you up, I'll put you down, and then I go, I'm going to count to 1 to 3. I'm going to have you open your eyes and then close your eyes, right? So 1, 2, 3, open up, and then close your eyes. And what happens is they go deeper. And every time you do that, deeper, and then deeper. Then before you know it, you're pretty much completely relaxed. And the same thing happens with the alarm clock. So when you set the alarm clock every 10 minutes or 5 minutes, you wake up, but you're able to go deeper into your dreams, but your conscious mind is actually awake. And you're able to start to experience the dream in the dream. Another thing that you can do is in the morning time, set the alarm clock, wake up, walk around for 4 to 5 minutes while you're groggy, right? And then get back into bed. When you get back into bed, that'll trigger the lucid dreaming state as well, because your body's adrenaline is starting to move. So your body's starting to wake up, but your mind is still really, really tired. So once you lay down, you can have like an astral body experience. And what you can experience is what I have experienced is I laid down and I went to sleep. And then I woke up and then I came out into the couch and laid down. And then Jamie came out walking around and she got something out of the bathroom and went back into the bathroom. And then I woke up and I was back in the bed. What happened was I was dreaming, lucid dreaming, that I got up and went onto the couch and I visualized Jamie walking into the bathroom, coming back out. And then when I woke up, I was still in my bed. I actually never got out of my bed, but I experienced myself going onto the couch and lying down and seeing her walk in. So it's when you get up and move around in the morning time, you go right back to bed. That'll trigger it, or use the alarm clock.
You know what, too? I tend to lucid dream a lot. and once I realize I'm doing it, there's things in my dreams that happen. Like, for example, I'll look in the mirror and my I can't see my face, or things are weird. I'm like, oh, this isn't right. This is not normal. Oh, I'm dreaming. And like 2 seconds later, I wake up. I'm like, darn, it happens to me every time. But look at things in the dream if you can. If you notice things in your dream are not right, like you're turning light switches on and lights are flickering, that happens to me. That's one of my triggers. If your clocks are not matching up in your dreams,
you can't see the time in your dream.
Yeah, like the numbers will just be all wonky and switching around. Looking in the mirror. I had another dream. I was with my sister-in-law in her car driving around, and she didn't know her way around her town. And that was a cue for me. I'm like, wait a minute. You've been living here for how long? You don't know your town? Okay, I'm dreaming. So.
And in the beginning too, when you're first starting to work on it, you want to create triggers such as your watch and your time. So you always try to look at your time in your dreams, right? So when you're going to sleep, try to become conscious to create that trigger to look at your watch. Because when you do that and you keep, you create that trigger, you create that subconscious process where it clicks in. When you look at your watch and the time's messed up, you'll start to realize, oh, wait a second, I'm in a dream. So the more you do something, the more you practice something, the better you'll be at it. So it's good to create a trigger. Like looking in the mirror is a great one. You'll never see yourself in the mirror in a dream.
Also,
so that's another good one.
Also tell yourself every night, I'm going to lucid dream. I'm going to lucid dream.
Be conscious.
Yeah.
Yeah, set your intentions, right?
So Jay, when I use my snooze alarm in the morning, is that the same thing?
It is.
It is the same. The only thing, the snooze really, it's not good for us in the longevity of our day, because we have this perfect sweet spot of waking up. And if we don't wake up in that sweet spot, we keep on going deeper and deeper and deeper after, quicker, and then wake up and go to work. We find ourselves just dragging all day long because we missed that sweet spot. So it's fun to try and find what that sweet spot is for you, because everybody's different. Some people it's 5 hours, some people it's 4, some people it's 6, some people it's 8. My son is 13. I remember when I was his age, I loved sleeping too, but
yeah, now I'm lucky for that 4 or 5 hours of sleep.
I would pose a question back to her as well, to Asia. Like, the question as well to yourself is, why are you wanting to lucid dream? And that the reason that I say that is, once you also can direct of why am I trying to lucid dream, you can start to figure out, you can start doing it for your answers and the reasons you're trying to do it, and or you can bring your reason now into your meditation practices in your daily life. So just put that back out to yourself, because anytime I'm trying quote unquote to do something spiritually or something like that, I always say what was my reason or what was my purpose? Just like Jamie's saying, tell yourself, I am going to lucid dream tonight. So then that way it starts to happen. But if you know your reasons why you're trying to do it as well, then you can also have some of those experiences right now and drop yourself into theta or into that moment and actually see it and do it. I know there's another question that came up too. And I know that all of you guys are having great answers to this one, but Janet saying not new to meditation, is there a specific kind or kinds that will help me go deeper?
For me personally, it's so hard to say what kind is going to work, because we're all wired very differently. And I had clients who would, when they wanted to relax in a massage, they made me listen to Eminem and Metallica. Wow. And it worked for them. But when it comes to meditation, I find music does actually facilitate, at least myself, going into a deeper place. The trick is when you're listening to the music that you really tune into the beat, into the frequency, like it's almost within you. Always listen to music with headphones, because it makes you feel like you're completely immersed in the experience of the music. But for me personally, if I'm ever wanting to go deeper, music tends to help facilitate that. But I also find I have to be consciously choosing to tune into the frequency of the music and allow myself to be transported via the music.
I agree with Nicole. I do some meditations that actually have hertz frequencies in them, and I'll get into a real deep meditation to where I'm almost sleeping, and I'll hear that sound, and it'll bring me right back to being, in that meditative place.
And so I do a lot of those from YouTube.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. You know, one of the things I would say, Janet, is this. I was talking about breathing earlier, and I don't know, it was probably like 12 years ago. I'd been using Holosync, and and that had really helped me. I'd already been meditating probably about 10 years at that point. But then one day I just sat on the couch, and I literally just sat there and breathed. And every time my mind would want to go grab my phone or turn on the television, I just breathe even more. I just take deeper breaths, and so then eventually what ended up happening is I ended up in the 6-hour meditation, and at about hour 3, the walls in the room started liquefying.
Wow.
Like, literally, it was like they started liquefying in front of me, and then I actually started seeing spirit in front of me. This is when I actually started seeing spirit. And so what ended up happening is it started breaking down the illusion for me. And so the interesting part, and Jessica could probably contribute to this, all of us could contribute to this, we don't breathe enough anyways. We don't take in enough oxygen throughout the day. So what I found is I've been meditating for years now. Even at this point, tonight when I go to meditate and I do this deep breathing, it'll put me in this euphoric state because I'm oxygen deprived anyways. And so it kind of actually gets you a little high. And so so we don't have to do what the ancient shamans do, where some of them used to cut their wrists and they bleed out to go into the shamanic state. We don't do that. We can just breathe. But that was probably one of my coolest experiences is that. And just when we have plenty of time, right? One night, don't watch television. And just don't even watch YouTube or Facebook Live. Put your phone in the other room, and then breathe and light a candle.
Yeah.
Stare at the candle flame. I started off with open-eyed meditations because, like a lot of people, I had a lot of trouble closing my mind, or I'd fall asleep. Exactly. So I'd do open-eyed meditation, and every time there'd be a thought that fly into my head, a worry, I'd picture throwing it in the flame. So that the flame is transmuting, right? It transmutes things in it. And so it would take me into that. Finally, eventually, my monkey mind slowed down because I'm doing something basic like breathing. And I finally went into that theta state instead, or that shamanic state, whatever you want to call it. And so there's a lot of techniques out there, and I like the Hertz ones. I do those. I'll probably do one of those tonight, and I fall asleep to that a lot. I'll turn it on and I'll listen to that and stuff just because I like it when I'm sleeping and stuff like that. There's tons of things out there, and it's like I believe I agree with Karen. We're so different that for us to give any type of way to do it. And I'm always the rebellious student when I go, even in my theta class. Theta practitioner class, they would teach it. I'm like, but I don't want to do it that way. And so yeah, I just did it my own way, figured it out. So, but yeah.
Another technique too, a lot of people use to get deep into a meditation is chanting. And it's you're using your own vibrational sound to put you into that state. So that could be a technique that might work as well.
Yeah.
Jay always talks about, hey, this is what medi really means. And I love when you go through that, but we also meditate and when we don't even know it, that we were just driving in our car. How many of you guys have just driven in your car and you arrive and you got there and you're like, wait a second, didn't even know I went through all this. Like you unconsciously were going through all the stop signs doing that, but you were thinking about everything you need to think about, or you finally got clear on a subject. Like you were hearing all the messages of your day finally, because you kind of zoned your mind out of the norm because you were paying attention to something else that you were doing. But give your explanation of what meditation stands for, because I love it, Jason, love it.
Yeah, well, Jeanette, I just posted my meditation that I just created for the coronavirus and going deep. If you want to go really, really deep, check that out because people are having some really awesome experiences by doing that. And it's really designed to make you go really, really deep. So I just posted that right there. But when you look at the word meta, right? Meta means middle. So meditation, it's all about being centered. So you can go and lay down and meditate, or you can do a walking meditation. The idea is to always be centered and always be present, so you're able to respond to the world and not react. Because when we react, we're going off of instincts and we're going off of our old programming. So we want to get to the ability into the state of where we can respond to what's happening around us and to be in the middle, right? It's not going this way or not going this way. It's being balanced and centered. And that's the natural nature way of our reality. Our reality is based on vibrational frequencies. What's a vibration? A vibration is oscillation, right? That means light, dark, good, bad. It's polarity. But we would need to have balance of polarity because we all have it within us. And that's our natural state. So it's about being centered all the time, right? And that's consciousness. To raise your consciousness doesn't mean that you become a different being. It means you're able to raise your consciousness and remain centered in this thing that's happening around us, this balancing act of right, wrong, good, bad, male, female, all this dualistic expressions around us. It's about us being able to be centered inside of it and respond to what's happening and be conscious. And that's raising your consciousness. That's meditation. So meditation, you can close your eyes, go lay down and go out deep and zone out, or you can be in the moment and really zone out in the moment and really receive higher information. So, I mean, a lot of us have been channelers before and channeled information. When you channel information, it's just like all of a sudden you start thinking about one little thing and then all this information starts flowing through you. And it's kind of like, you're just letting it go and letting it go, let it go. But we all do that. When we're in a deep conversation with someone, we're not thinking anymore. We're just letting this information flow through us, right? And that's where we want to get to. We want to get to that spot of where we're in connection with our higher selves and just letting the information of the higher realms come through us. So that's what meditation is for me.
I get the greatest, deepest meditation through taking a walk. I go for walks as much as possible, especially when the weather's really nice and it's time to myself and I'm just breathing and my mind is clear. And I've actually caught myself stopping in one spot and feeling like super tingly, like I could feel like my molecules and cells are all vibrating and moving about. But the messages that I get are very, very good and very, very clear.
Yeah.
Well, and I think that's a great thing to lead into the other question that's posed. Do you charge with hertz? Because that's the new question that just popped up. And you're saying how you charge. You charge through your meditation and you can feel the vibration. Mm-hmm. And there's a question saying, do you charge with hertz? There's so many ways for us to charge.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Yeah. So you can charge. I mean, if you've seen the Isaru Emoto, he charges water with words. So you can just put intention into writing something on the bottle and then putting it in your fridge, and that molecular structure of that water will change. And it's scientifically documented, not just by Emoto's work, but by other scientists, where they would take a flower and drop the flower in the water and pull it out, and all the molecules inside of the water, they pick and they drop, it would contain the image, like a holographic image of the flower that they dropped into the water. Water is extremely programmable. It's very interesting when you look at water. Water is the medium of our reality. It's in the air. In my course, The Soul's Dream, I talk about this in lesson 2. There's 35 billion trillion gallons of water in our atmosphere. That means in the air, there's that much water. It's incredible how much water. We're basically swimming in water, right? Water is all around us. It's part of the air. And we're made up of what? Between 90 to 60% water based on your age. I mean, babies are, when they're a fetus, 100%, babies are 90%. And as you get into your 40s and into the 60s and 70s, you go down to about 70% water. So we're made up of water. Water is all around us. Water is the enigma of our reality, and it's programmable. You can program water with information, and it carries it. And so can you program with hertz like Marina Jacobi does? Marina's a very good friend of mine. Yes, you can do that. But you can also program the water like this. Just hold it in your hands, because you are a giant resonating machine. Your body is filled of all the hertz that there are in existence inside of you. And it's through your intentions, you just holding that charges that water. And it happens like this. It's not like you got to do it for an hour. It seriously happens like this. If check out The Soul's Dream in lesson 2, you'll see the documentations of the science behind it. It happens very fast. You just touching the water imprints your signature. You have a vibrational signature. You just touching the glass imprints on that water your signature. So what they did is they took people and they did a whole study on people touching it just for a second, and then taking the droplet, and the signature would stay the same with the same person touching it. And then when another person would touch it, the signature would change. So water changes that quick. So if you want to charge it with your emotions, and it really has a significant change. Significant change.
And that could be a powerful tool that everyone could use when they're drinking their water during this virus situation, right? That every drink of water is a healing elixir for us.
And it's a good way to stay conscious too, right? It's a good way. It's a good way to practice and stay conscious.
You can write the word health or healthy on your glass.
I want to answer this question Lucia's asking, because it's interesting, Lucia. I worked for a water company before the company I'm at right now, and yes, there are a few water companies that are not trustworthy, but most are, and most actually are distilled, and they're required to give you a water quality report on everything. I personally prefer Crystal Springs water, which is owned by DS Services. But I drink their distilled water all the time, and but you can also do things like put crystals next to it. I don't know if somebody mentioned that, and just I put my water bottle next to a crystal in the refrigerator, and that helps a lot. And so and rose quartz or whatever you want to. So and then you charge it in the moonlight, and the crystal in the moonlight every month or in the sun and stuff like that. And that really helps. So.
Yeah. And the thing about distilled water too, though, is the minerals are removed from it, and you kind of want some minerals in your diet. So to continuously always drink distilled water might not be the best way to go. So you kind of want to have variety and just don't do this one thing. Nicole, we were talking about that not too long ago. You were doing a distilled water diet, and you had some complications, didn't you?
No, I've been doing. I've been doing distilled water for a year now only, and I love it. I drink a gallon a day, and I add 1 teaspoon of aluminum-free baking soda to alkalize it, because for me, I have a difficult time keeping my body alkaline, and that helped fix everything. So for me, I add a teaspoon of aluminum-free baking soda to my distilled water, but I love it. If you're concerned about not getting enough minerals, it depends on what your diet's like, because you get minerals from a lot of other places. You don't just get your minerals from water. I always take a green supplement to make sure that I'm getting a lot of my minerals. Your minerals come from a lot of your vegetables. But if you are concerned, the whole point of having the distilled water is that it's empty and can pull out and detox you slowly throughout the day, very gently. But you can also switch over to squeezing lemon juice into your water, and that will remineralize it and also act as a detox as well.
Awesome.
And what you can make something called Soleil water too. Am I correct by saying that? And it's like a very salty water, and you take that little bit of salt water, like a drop, and you can add it to your water as well, and you'll get minerals that way, because salt is a mineral.
Yeah, and you would use what was that salt they were using? Celtic sea salt.
Sea salt, yeah.
And it would be 50% water in a cup and 50% salt, and you let that kind of dissolve over a couple of days. And then you just take a couple of drops of that and then put it into your glass, or 1 drop if it's in a glass.
Yeah, you don't even taste it.
That's very,
Well, and I'd like to say, don't forget the power of intention, because again,
that's the strongest thing. Yeah.
If we're allowing ourselves to be programmed that we can only do
very clean water.
Yeah.
Yes.
If we allow ourselves to think we can only have, for example, we're talking about distilled water, that we should only be drinking distilled water, then are we putting a new program in and a new blockage in our life? So we have to be cautious and careful how we do things, because it's like Nicole saying, you need to eat correctly. Make sure you're getting your right minerals and everything if you are going to do a certain specific diet or drink certain waters, because on the health end of it, we've seen in the medical world, we've seen other people only do distilled water. And yes, it's supposed to be pulling your toxins out, but for pipes and everything else, what it pulls out is later it corrodes away pipes and your irons and different stuff. So you need to make sure that you're replenishing the right things back into your system in the correct ways and formats. Otherwise, you're kind of going opposed to what you were trying to do. And so I think that that's just kind of an important thing to keep into our minds and into our thoughts. It's like some people that do meat only based diet or something at that point, if they go like with an Atkins only, you had a lot of people going into renal failure and stuff because they weren't balancing it out correctly at the right time. And so they put themselves into the wrong ketosis and ketoacidosis instead. So it's just a matter of how we do it. But then, like we said, put that power of intent there, charge what you're going to charge. That's where the old style of when we were all young, raised praying over our food, or people in their spiritual world, Reiki and everything, because I work with so many different modalities, you're talking about putting energy to it. But that's where the prayer came from, because you're asking to bless the food, you're asking to protect it. We're asking to clear and cleanse it of any toxins, emotions, everything else that was there. Also bless the chain. So we're also sending that energy out to everyone who cooked it, prepared it, farmed it, whatever it was that was involved in that process and the sacrifice of the animal or plant getting there. So really there's so much in intention that we forget, and we weren't always taught the reasons of what we were doing. Instead, it was like, did you say your prayers before you eat? And it was like, well, why? We're going to have to eat it. So it's all about that intention as well. So remember the power you have within. That power, that is your light. When you're centered, you can put that power there, and it is going to oversee anything that you're worked with, So
yeah, I would like to add to that too with the eating part. The reason why we do prayer on our food, right? Remember, our bodies are made up of 80% water. The food that we're eating is made up of water, right? It has steam. So we know that we can touch water and instantaneously imprint on it. We know that we can change the molecular structure by Emoto's work. So when you're actually doing a heartfelt prayer, an emotion, you're actually changing the molecular structure of the water to a match vibration of your intake, of what you're vibrating at and when you're blessing your food. So it's not just you're just throwing a prayer out there, you're actually changing the molecular structure of the food's water that's retained inside of it. And it's all scientifically documented. It's interesting to see like the old ideas of prayer and the actual science behind what we're actually doing to the food when we do pray. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, just don't forget your power of your intention. You're protected. Mm-hmm. You got your light shining. You guys have done your centering. You're at these high vibrations. You can do anything. You can do anything in the world. You can be in theta state right now. That's how it's like Karen was talking about it earlier, going through that process of those emotions coming out, understanding what you've been holding. You've been understanding everything else of everyone else that's been affecting you. And then once you can go through those processes and have that new birth within, that's how I bilocate. That's how I'm doing multidimensional work. That's how I can be with everyone that's here and feeling all the energies at the same time, or almost like being with you, whether we don't always have to be physically present with that person, but we are with them. I can end up seeing what's going on in that other end. That power of intention is so huge. So never, ever think you're anything less. You are amazing. That's where they said we were made in God's likeness. We are God and God is us. And we can embark upon all those powers. And that beautiful wine that Nicole's drinking, it is the most amazing thing that she's got going on right there because of everything that she allows it to be for her with the love and the light and sharing it with us all. So each one of you has that light and that potential. So keep it going. You guys are amazing.
Yeah, next time I need a glass of wine too, Nicole. You need to send that over here to Florida.
Yeah. I could use one now.
How to turn the water into wine.
Oh, real quick, Jay, I just want to answer a question. Lucia, my recommendations would either be Mountain Valley. That would be my number one recommendation because they do all their bottles are glass, so you don't get all the stuff with plastic. And then the second one is I would go to DS Services. I would avoid anything that has to do with Nestle, as far as their water goes. So, but that's just my recommendation.
So we got about 4 minutes left. You guys want to close out? We guys statements you want to
I
say?
have to get a glass of water.
Here you go.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, here you go.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Oh,
So-
I know what I wanted to talk about, Jay, real quick. I'm sorry. So
Sure.
sorry.
No, it's fine.
Yeah, I'm not into Nestle either. There's a lot of reasons.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Wait. So real quick, I wanted to throw this out here is that synchronicity, if you're not aware of that, this is another way for the universe to talk to you, is like it comes in different things. Like numbers are a huge thing for me, angel numbers. And it really just I don't know. I just like if you don't know familiar with synchronicity, go check it out. I mean, like literally one of the things I get is 333 all the time. And earlier I just looked down and we had in our rumor expiration like 3 hours and 33 minutes and 33 seconds out of and it just happens, you know, you'll be driving down the road and something will happen. And then you look those up or animals and buy the book Animal Speak by Ted Andrews. And what it does is that it'll tell you, you'll get these experiences with these animals will come across your path or whatever. You'll see a bald eagle in the sky and you go look that up and then it'll tell you, there'll be a message there for you and you'll start getting familiar with them. And then you won't even need to look it up anymore. It'll just become something you're like, I get it. And it'll really teach you something, you know, and that's the universe talking to you. So.
Oh, yeah.
Enter your dreams. Watch the animals in your dreams that come to you. They mean something. And numbers in your dreams.
Yeah. Sonny's going crazy there.
Well,
Yeah,
I'm
so-
going to say thank you and goodbye because I have to go get a drink of water.
Yeah.
All right, Karen. Good night.
Good night.
It was
Good night.
fun.
everyone.
I had a great
Yeah.
time hanging out with you guys. Let's do
Definitely.
this
and
again.
Yeah, for everyone, this is just a start. We have a lot of really cool programming coming. We have a lot of cool webinars we're designing, and we're going to bring in a lot of awesome content to you guys in the very, very near future. So stay tuned, check your emails, and we'll see you guys soon. Have a great night.
And thanks to everyone for all the light work you've been doing. Thanks for joining us, but thanks for all the light work that each and every single one of you have been doing through your prayers, through your love, through everything you've been doing. We're here for you, but thanks for being here for us too.
Yeah.
Thank
Yeah.
Bye,
Much love,
everyone.
everybody.
Bye. Okay.